This is a reading to update to the previous on Nancy Guthrie's other readings that I did. So there was a little pile of cards sitting here, and it told me that there was a group here. There was, maybe some curiosity about Miss Guthrie. She's single, and this is more like 3 is a crowd energy. So we have people that are coming together here, aligning in some kind of idea, or they're partnering up, and the 3 is a crowd over here with the 3 of Cups. Seems like it could be up to 3 people, and Nancy being the single, independent, financially sufficient woman here alone. There was a group that probably began to gossip about Mrs. Guthrie being alone and financially independent, and they came together. They aligned in these values. So it could have been 2 people that came together ultimately, but they drew in a bigger crowd. So what I'm saying is, like, it's something for hire, probably. There's so many different people in the situation. Nanos insisting on not doing his job, and nobody else do it for him either, regarding this case with Nancy Guthrie. Somebody may have devised this plan in an instant. It's one of those things like impulsive control wasn't there, which they find in psychopaths. When I say psychopaths, I'm talking about sociopaths also. Psychopaths, antisocial. Sociopaths are social creatures. But they lump them up, I believe they lump them up by calling them psychopaths altogether. And that's why there was a lot of confusion for a little while there about what a psychopath was and what a sociopath was. So here we go with the Nancy Guthrie story and all of the people involved and where they stand. Talking about who and where they stand, or who they are, or what they were involved in the situation. Because we need to know more about that. Since taking a while, I can understand that it would be difficult to fly a drone over the backyards of the walkway, the pathway into Mexico from the tribe area. I mean, I guess you can walk over there, so it would be interesting to see what could be found from a flying drone. over those backyards there. I was reading a little bit about it online, and there was talk about the people living on the tribal land being like pressured, or pressured is the least to say it in that way. It's more like I don't remember the word, but it was like they're being used, their places are being used for criminal activity. So somebody got a drone, and I don't remember his name, so I feel terrible about that. But anyways, because that was really cool that maybe that's going to be possible. So these next cards that came out, 10, 9, 8. Look at that. No joke, 10, 9, 8. It was like there was of course this next card after the Tower. So she tried to defend herself and lost. This was done without thinking about the consequences. That the truth would come to light. So there was some sloppy work in covering their tracks. And now people are talking about the way Nanos probably botched the case. You know, he was probably invited to Tucson by some of those people because they knew exactly who he was, and it would allow them to continue their free reign and whatever they're doing over there. I think it was on JLR channel. They called the sheriff's office, and somebody answered the phone, was answering questions, and it stuck out to me when they said, well, Nanos he's hands off, something to the effect of he is hands off, he doesn't really do anything. She didn't say figurehead. Well, he said he was calling, I think it was a woman, but he called her a sir. But anyways, because she had a deeper voice. But I was like, oh, so he's just a figurehead. He doesn't do anything. He's just there for looks. They voted him in, and you know, just like politicians being puppets, I guess it's no different. There's a lot of hurt and worry and isolation. Okay, because of the justice that was disregarded that people are now wanting. Fast forward this video up to 2 times. So that was a surprise, an unpleasant surprise, and is left them disconnected. You know what I'm talking about. Can't show this zest for life. Oh well, that's out the window. People would love to be beating down your door, but you know, they're only allowed to do it off of your property. Not far away. And she wishing. Oh man, is probably thinking about bringing conflict to the YouTubers. She's gonna try to manipulate or manifest something. So I would watch out. You know what? Tomassos was driving by when JLR was coming out of the driveway of Miss Guthrie's. I guess it was her home. I turned the video on when he was just heading out, or right before, you know, and he's like, oh, whoa, that's Tomassos. To cause this loss for the YouTubers. That's probably what went down behind everybody's backs. Nanos was trying to protect all of Annie and Tomassos' image or whatever, and so now they would like for that kind of thing to continue, but that's not how it went down in court when some of the YouTubers were, I guess somebody was jailed. I don't know if it was more than one person. And then a bunch of people got tickets. And then they were all dropped. Charges that were being pressed. And that was Nanos' work telling these people. So he's just supposed to be a figurehead and hands off, but there he is. So he's pulling strings, this little magician here. This little magician. I see that's Nanos. They would like to see if Nanos can bring, they want to, because we already know who it is. We already know that them two, somebody had connections, and it all kind of came together with people's curiosity and thirst for just more, and being ambitious about it all, and not thinking about consequences of justice. Because of YouTubers, it would have gone away if Nanos got his way. So that's what I think it's telling us right now, is to watch out for Tomassos and Annie coming up with devious ways to get in the way of YouTubers. Let's see how that goes. I wonder if they watch my videos. Let me see. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them to put booby traps out and stuff. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking like nails so that you go over it with your tires, but they wouldn't do that because then their drive would be messed up, or their neighbor's drive would you know, they'd get nails in their tires too if they just put them on the street there. So I don't know what they could possibly be trying to do. Annie thinks she's pretty smart. She already got to work with trying to come up with ways, cruel ways, because she's emotional, and we know that she's a Cancer. So some people say you don't want to mess with Cancers when they get angry. She wants to make people regret it. And then on top of it, she wants people to think that she is grieving a loss right now. Let me see. She's holding on to that image. She's gonna try to pretend that she's grieving. She thinks that she's gonna maintain control of the situation. But she's a fool. She thinks that her manipulative tactics are going to be able to carry out whatever little devious plans that she could come up with. Maybe she's going to try to get some people to come and have conflict. Well, that's what could be coming up. Some kind of conflicts. They're sending in people would be here considered the Knight of Wands. With the Five of Wands coming here to compete with YouTubers being out there. Just causing some strife while they're there. So that's what she thinks that has planned. I am surprised that getting this, going this way with it, that it's actually coming to talk to the YouTubers that are out there. That, you know, it's saying, hey, it was, you know, this threes of crowd, but these two came together. There was curiosity and gossip about Miss Guthrie being a single, financially stable, independent woman, and that they could make that come down and take what she has. And they think they could just walk away, but that's not what they're getting out of this situation. What's his name? Derek. Is it Kalea? I don't know where the double L's are, but he was already arraigned and sentenced to treatment. They didn't even investigate. They just took his word on it that it was a prank. They took his word. Oh, well, you little girl. Well, we're going to sentence you to treatment now for that. No, okay, well, so I wouldn't doubt if Nanos was talking to the DA or whoever it is they deal with in LA or wherever it is that Kayla is at. Kayla, I can see what people call him Kayla, Derek Kayla. maybe send some people in there with overreactive imaginations to cause, you know, maybe get moody with the YouTubers and, you know, make themselves look like the ones that are being assailed or whatever. You know, some people are manipulative like that. They start drama with you and then they want to make it look like you started it with them after they press your buttons and get you going. So I think that maybe they're gonna send in some people who are gonna try to irritate the YouTubers. And if I was I'd be like, bring it on. But I bet you it's some crap that nobody really wants to deal with, you know. But just like getting arrested, like, is it? Anyway, I gotta remember names. I'm used to not remembering names because, you know, when you're thrown a lot of information about a certain subject, it's just, yeah. But that can change. They're making plans at this very moment. And here's an emperor. Somebody in leadership. They're planning on getting probably cops again or something, or somebody that people fear, some kind of authority. Somebody where there's like some structure. There's power, there's rules, you know. So, probably gonna make it seem like they need to be protected from YouTubers. They're probably calling the police on YouTubers already. And it's probably gonna confuse the police on what to do. They're gonna be like, I'm sorry, we've already been out there and they told us that we can't charge them. They might not want to tell Annie that, so that's a big pain in the butt. But she's being manipulative, so maybe she's going to start lying. Look, the moon card hasn't come out yet, so it didn't directly say that, but watch, you know, it's still in here. And I feel like I'm saying that because we've already seen the manipulation and all this stuff right up to this point. And death. Damn, dude, I hope she doesn't like tell them that she fears for her life. That's probably exactly what she's telling them. I fear for my life. I can't go out there like I want to. Yeah, so like she's not living her familiar life. Her friends aren't coming around, like this is an issue. So, you know, she's probably telling the police that, you know, her friends want to come over and they don't feel safe. Damn, okay. I mean, what can you say? We're just standing here with cameras, not weapons. You know, she's thinking that people are going to be on their way to her home. Definitely is what she's thinking. Here we go. Yeah, her freedom to live is being inhibited. There's an end to that. You know, the sacredity of the home and everything, her life is no more, and feeling like she needs to, you know, go maybe now because of that. They need to move away because people know where they live, maybe. I hate to say that. That's why I'm like, it's taking me forever to spit it out. Because I don't want them to be saying that they're afraid when they, you know, they shouldn't be. But people got questions and they want to, you know, hide their faces and not answer questions and act like they don't see people looking at them and wondering. I mean, screw talking. All you can do is look at him from at this point. So let's see, what's the distraction? Here's the King of Cups. Tomassos wants to move away. Number one. And he'll probably be calling the cops on people, talking about she fears for her life. Get ready for it. Get ready. Get ready. Tomassos has big ideas that everything's going to be much better. They've got the financial wealth, long-term success, you know, they don't have to worry about anything. They've got the 10 of Pentacles. This is what he's seeing. Man, we got all this money. I've got, you know, newfound hope. He was walking pretty, you know, with the pep in his step, like coming out in front of everybody. He doesn't give a crap. Who knows where he's thinking about going, but I just cannot imagine, and maybe that's something that I'll look into later. It's just him. So we need to come back to center on letting the reading tell us what it was telling us. So actually inside, he's a very callous person that feels he has quiet power over things because he uses his head, because he doesn't have much of a heart. He's pretty good at that. Yeah, he knows exactly how much to give people. So I'm surprised he didn't even... Did he flinch when he walked out in front of all those YouTubers? He was just, like I said, pep in his step. He knows what to give people. He used his head for that. That was all. There was no emotions there. It was just exactly how, going back to the, psychopathic behavior and how they just don't care. No remorse. They don't feel the same way. I guess he doesn't have any shame for it. He's just thinking about the money. But now, where are you going? But let's not get off topic. So I guess he thinks that he's going to sit there and challenge and persevere through the situation and defend where he's at. So get ready for that. They have no plans, even though they want to. They plan on just like getting YouTubers gone by telling the police that they fear for their life. That's probably what they're telling them right now. They're getting the plans ready right now. Getting who knows what. Let's see. See, I said defending his home right where they're at. Here's the 10 of Cups. They want to stay there. They don't want to leave. He wants to stay where he's at and keep on plodding along. In a life that he should feel bored and stuck in. Because he's not doing much. If he didn't have all this money now, if he didn't have Annie, he might be a loser. I wonder how she met him on maybe a dating website when she was looking for a man, maybe anywhere in the world. Or both of them. Ace of Cups here. He thinks that now he's going to be able to feel, enjoy all that love that he said he was missing. Well, we have the 7 of Swords, so the card of, betrayal, getting away with something. Like he used Nancy Guthrie's kind heart to deceive her. That's what he did. So people around him, all the trash he was hanging out with, DJ Mojito and whoever's connected to Derek Kalea, they're connected, these people. Were curious about Nancy. He was hanging out with garbage and brought those people into her life. That's how karma is. That's why you got to be careful with whoever you hang out with. You think you can dodge karma. There's no way around it. It's going to eventually seep into your life. So having somebody like Tomassos around just invited, basically, I'm not talking about the devil like down there, like devilish functions, like negative things that suck your life, things that are bad for you. He is a person that invites that in to Nancy's life this way. And he knows that people cannot say for sure that it was him. He knows that people didn't see how he got away with it because Nanos was over there protecting them from being investigated. And he's trying to keep this thing together. He's trying to keep it covered. It's taking strength. There's a lot of focus going into this. He could be paying Nanos money to turn the blind eye. So Nanos is probably a guy that takes money so that people cannot find the truth out. So I guess that's Nanos thought it was his job to take bribes to turn a blind eye. If you give him enough money, if the price is right. He'll put a little ticking time bomb in that situation there, so it just goes all to hell, just like the way Derek Calais didn't get investigated. So I'm only thinking that there's gotta just be, I mean, is Nanos working with gangs from Mexico, or just gangs themselves on the border, like Mexican gangs, or it's an open border. He's from El Paso. Nanos, he knows how people want to come over to the border all the time, non-stop, day and night. And he's a guy that's probably got a price. So he stagnates the case, burns it out. It's burn out, bitch. That's what he does, man. These are the kind of people that wouldn't survive in a human band, like when they were surviving together and they didn't have laws, and somebody would do something to put the people at, and get them in trouble somehow, trip them up, hurt them. Be unjust. That's somebody like Nanos. They wouldn't survive. The band would say, well, we can't have you here causing all of this trouble for everybody. You can either leave or we'll make you leave. But people like that didn't get to stick around. But he gets to stick around here. Well, they're doing it behind our back. And people don't see that nasty criminal syndicate undercover, underground. I wouldn't be surprised if there was tunnels under there. Oh yeah, so the way that Nanos does that is that he causes communication to be broken. So I guess that's a major way that people can cause things to really get messed up, is by breaking up communication. That's probably a trick. That's a trick that probably attorneys use, judges use, clerks, and anybody who knows about manipulating. So I guess we should be aware when people start trying to break down communication. Or they just don't, they won't communicate between departments and stuff. So he probably throws a wrench in there anyhow. So I guess there's a sense of causing overwhelm, causing a lack of balance. That there's multiple ways that this can happen. You can, shift priorities. So those people in that room, he says, is working there. They have all of these, I guess, what did he didn't call them detectives, did he? Said that there's all these people, task force. So he probably goes in there and knows how to manipulate the situation, disorganize priorities in the cases, overwhelm people with stupid stuff, cause the imbalance. He causes things to not get done. He'll overwhelm people with work, cause them to not be able to finish things in time, and probably cause them to not be able to figure out, they can't decide certain things because of him. It's probably him that, or he's causing issues so that things can't be decided on. It's like when you misconstrue the law. Well, I don't think it means that. Okay. Well, these people are just probably now, with the situation being put out there on the air for the world to see by the YouTubers and by a couple of news anchors that are actually on TV, Nancy Grace and some of the others. I can't think of the names right now, but their faces I can see. The world knows about these people, and so they're probably feeling overwhelmed themselves with not knowing what to do about it, like to the point where they're feeling smothered by the whole situation that they're in together. It wasn't as easy as they thought it was. My throat is so dry. It's very dry in the city. We have especially an extra desert layer of dust in the city, and all the fireworks, smoke, and everything right behind me. That was fun. But right now they don't have any emotional security right now. They're not feeling at peace. This wasn't a wish come true. They thought it was going to be. Because of, what was caused by this situation with their mother. Was them being impatient. And Nanos probably has some kind of a personality disorder. There's something called I wonder if he has hysterical personality disorder, where they make things seem like they'll overwhelm you with anxiety. They'll act like things are a really big deal when they're not. And, you know, just quite the opposite as well. They'll probably act like really big things are not a big deal at all. That they don't mean anything at all. Gaslighting. He's probably always having these people go on to the next project anyways. Oh, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we got priorities shifting all the time, so you can't get anything done. It's like, you know, I have multiple different mediums that I do in art, and I need separate stations for them. When you change, when you stop doing your work, you clean up, then it takes a long time to clean up, and then it takes a long time to get going again the next time you do it. So if you have to stop what you're doing on one project, you're not really gonna remember everything. Probably you gotta come back to it. So what they're looking for in this case, they can't find it. They're too busy. Nanos keeps them busy. And probably is like just stuff that the courts need. You know how the courts accept certain cases. So they're probably always being told, you have to do this for this case. The DA needs this right now. It's not about Nancy at all. Like Ron Goldman's father said about him and in Nicole Simpson's case. Ron Goldman was just a footnote in the case. Nancy is not even a footnote. She wasn't even noted. Maybe she was noted, but what happened, they went to her house. We saw, you know, YouTube was filming out there. There was people taking evidence. What did they find? And then it got sent to Florida. So who were those people in the house? And why did they send all that stuff off to Florida? You know, is there like another operative situation who protects like the Mexican gangs? Because they're running drugs up here, like, you know, it's said that people, you know, government knows they're bringing drugs up here, and government, even United States government, even helps Mexico to bring the drugs up here into this country. So you know, if that was true, then of course there would be like another group that goes around protecting them from getting caught. But I just can't see it getting like that. Like, if you're going to be helped by the government, you're definitely not going to be working for ransoms, would you? Who knows? Alright, we need to do one on Tomassos. I'm going to do that right now. I don't know if people like long videos, but you can click off when you want. I'm going to do another one on tomato. So Nanos tells people which cases to move on, or he's in there just screwing things up for detectives by being in control of the priorities and things where he probably shouldn't be. It's like when, for the first time in history, a commander-in-chief was the president. It was no longer an actual real commander who knows about the military. It was just your president now. That's not a real commander-in-chief. I'm sorry, excuse me, that's stupid as hell. So it's like giving this dummy all of these powers, and they don't even deserve them. I think that's the situation Nanos is in. He tells people what to look into, and he's a selfish piece of crap. He thinks he's a leader. Well, he is the said leader, but he's impulsive and he's ruthless. See, he's hasty as well, and that correlates with me saying that he has a personality disorder that is, I'm sorry, I guess I didn't get a lot of sleep, so I got a new little kitty and doing a lot for it, and plus building a bunch of stuff around here day to day. But it is, what did I say? I said it earlier. But he looks for drama where he wants it at. He's a big manipulator. He's a real good at mind screwing people. That's probably why they brought him over to Tucson. Tucson's like, hey, we've been waiting for you, man. You know, maybe they even told him. No, they wouldn't have told him. Punch somebody so that you get kicked out. No. That's just how impulsive, that goes back to the impulsivity. He's an impulsive piece of crap who doesn't belong there with all that power. So this guy has all these expectations for everybody else too high. He's very hasty. That's the kind of feeling that he gives to everybody. Causes everybody to be like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Okay, I'm sorry. Now, I don't think I can get all that done, sir. They probably don't tell him that, but when he leaves the room, they're just like, God, what the fuck? I wish he wouldn't come in here and fuck this up. That's all he does. Fuck everything up. I wish he would just get the fuck out of here. Isn't he the one? Did he start the task force? I'm not sure where that came from. I did hear about it though. I think he might have said that he did start it. I'm not sure. He's got his guys that help him get away with all this stuff. So that's his task force. Okay, so I said maybe some of them are talking shit because they're real detectives, but he's got his guys in that room too. Nanos does. So he put certain guys in there on that task force that help him, you know, do things, whatever this burden is that he's putting on everybody. And he really restricts people in what they can do. So that's what he does. So he probably has, I would call them plants. He planted some people in there that would cause certain cases to be restricted. So if Nanos is paid off, then these guys, these plants on the task force can really muck up the case, just like they did with Nancy. What happened there? I apologize that this took so long, but yeah, like I said, a lot of things changing. So just getting back into my sleeping routine and everything like that. Let's finish this up, and I do want to have a look into Tomassos. Let me see. Yeah, so Nanos knows how to cause judgments to go in a certain way. This dude has a lot of coordinated efforts going on behind the scenes that we don't see with other people. Damn, is that what we had to get to? I'm glad that this is talking about him, because I didn't realize the depth of a scoundrel that he is. So he's an opportunist, and he likes to cause illusions for other people. And so he is for pay. This dude probably feels like life is purposeless, and he's on the take, and he's gonna get what he has to. I mean, to punch a handcuffed person in the jail or prison, wherever it was that he was, it's like you want to lose your job, don't you? Or you thought you were going to get away with it. Imagine all the things he's done around these other cops, and they go off and they think they can do that stuff too. There's a lot of cops that do that from where his department in El Paso police, El Paso police, they like to punch people in the face when they get them handcuffed. They have videos of it all the time. It's like that's probably, I don't know where these people learned it from though. I can't say Nanos started it, but look at what he did. He thought he was gonna get away with it. I don't know if there was a camera around, because when they don't have camera, I think that it could be impossible to get justice. So that's why it's important to record, cop interactions. You can pull over and record when you see a cop talking to somebody. You can record it. But so here we are, this last card. I was gonna say this last cop, the King of Pentacles. So, this leadership position for Nanos meant wealth for him. He's greedy, he's here to collect. That's Nanos. That's why he's here. He's here to prosper. I wonder what kind of a house he lives in. Probably nobody knows where he lives, but I'm very curious as to what kind of assets Nanos actually has. Like, does it look like he's living beyond his means? Because he's always in a uniform, so you don't really get to see what kind of clothes he wears. But I'm curious, like, does he wear like a really nice watch, or does he hide the wealth until he goes home? Or maybe I'm not sure what kind of a person he is, but he wasn't expecting any of this to be seen. Now I'm gonna get a different deck. I mean, the same type of deck, but different. Same Rider-Waite. Tomassos, what did you do? Death was the first card that came out. The Five of Swords and Judgment. Caused that death was his idea. He employed help. He employed some young buck, at least one young buck that we know of, as the person that took Nancy. Did Tomassos actually see Nancy when she was being held? Even cause her heart attack? That's what I'm seeing. He knew how to do that. Now nobody knows where the fuck Tomassos was all night, or into the next day, or the next few days, because Nanos made sure nobody would get to see what interactions were taking place. He says he's at home with Annie. And Annie is going to go with whatever Tomassos says. God, dude, she got with a psychopath. She had to come in with all her wishing darkness and shit. I have got to say that I'm not so sure Annie knew, but after the fact, she knows, and she's going to stay with him for it. And well, they're going to keep this secret. They came together with this plan. They're together on it. And they wanted to live their little happy life in secret. I mean, keep this secret behind closed doors. Because things didn't go as planned. But they see that YouTubers are getting in their business, and this is making it difficult for them. So we'll end with that. Actually, this card fell out, so this Queen of Cups here, that's Annie. She's the one that's more burdened. You know, Tomassos was out there showing his face, but Annie wasn't. And they both cover up their faces. She might even want to be single now. Things might change for them. I think she might not want to be around him so much. So let's see how it all goes. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more.